Hello guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to install the latest version of Kali Linux on VirtualBox using your MacOS PC. Now the first thing we have to do is download VirtualBox, and to do that head to your Chrome browser and then search for VirtualBox. Now you can see the first page over here which heads to virtualbox.org, Oracle VM VirtualBox. Click on it, and by the left click on downloads. Now we can download VirtualBox for macOS over here, the latest version. Click on macOS and it should start downloading. Now if you're using a macOS PC that isn't an Intel based Mac, then you have to scroll down to older versions of VirtualBox. Down somewhere around here you can see VirtualBox older builds. Click on VirtualBox older builds, and then you can see version 7.0 and other older versions. So we can go with version 7.0, and you can see developer preview for macOS ARM64, which is for M1 and M2. Now we have VirtualBox downloaded. The next thing we need to download is Kali Linux ISO file. So open a new tab and then search for Kali Linux. Click on the first link that heads to kali.org. Now click on the download button over here and it should take you down. Now you can see Kali Linux installer image file and virtual machines. So click on installer images and then you can scroll down and you should see Kali Linux for 64 bits, which is what I need. So just click on it and it should start downloading. The file size is quite huge, about 3.7 gigabytes, but you should be able to download. I already have this file downloaded, so I'm just going to cancel it, but make sure you download it and we can begin the installation. So let's close our browser and then open our download folder so we can begin installing VirtualBox and then Kali. So this is VirtualBox. Let's install. Now double click on virtualbox.pkg and it should begin the installation. You can change the install location, but I'm just going to continue. Click on install. Then enter your password to confirm you are the one performing this operation. Install software, and it should start installing. This shouldn't take up to a minute, I guess, but it all depends on your PC hardware. Successfully installed. Now click on close, and then we can move to trash since we no longer need the file again. Let's close this. Can eject VirtualBox from our screen. Now we can just search for VirtualBox in our launchpad. Click on it. So you can see this version of VirtualBox is not compatible with my Mac, so I have to download an older version of VirtualBox. So to do that, we have to close this, head back to our browser. So the reason why this is not installing is because I'm using an older version of macOS, which is macOS High Sierra. Now let's download version 6.1, which still has support. Hopefully that works. macOS, and it is now downloading. Now if you're using anything from macOS Big Sur, Ventura, Sonoma, you should be okay, but this is an older version of macOS. That is why the latest version of VirtualBox is not supported. So I would advise you upgrade or update your macOS if it is not compatible with VirtualBox. But regardless, this should still work with older builds of VirtualBox. Downloaded successfully. Now let's close our browser and then head back to our download folder. Now we can just delete the original VirtualBox we installed earlier. Just move to trash from our applications. And then install VirtualBox, which is 6.1. Same method. Now double click on VirtualBox PKG to install. Continue, install. Enter your password to confirm, and it should start installing. Okay, so if you encounter an issue like this, just open security preference and then you can see system software from developer Oracle America was blocked, and that is VirtualBox. So we just have to allow, head back. That means we have to redo the installation. Let's keep it and then redo the installation. Continue, install, confirm. And we are done. Now click on close. You can move to trash, close this, also move this to trash. Now let's open our launchpad, and here we go. We have VirtualBox installed successfully. Now we have to create a new virtual machine where we're going to install Kali Linux. So click on new. Let's call this machine Kali Linux 2023. Set the type to Linux, and then set the version to Linux 2.6, 3x, 4x, 64 bits, and then continue. Now this is the RAM, so set how much you want to allocate to your virtual machine. Now note, you shouldn't allocate more than 40% of your RAM to your virtual machine, else it will slow down your host computer. So I'm just going to give it about 4.6 gigabytes of RAM, and that should be okay. Next, create a virtual hard disk. Now create VDI VirtualBox disk image, continue. Dynamically allocated, continue. And this is the storage size. So the minimum storage required for Kali Linux is 20 gigabytes, but I recommend you give more than that if you want to run your machine without any issue. So I'm just going to give it 54 gigabytes, continue. So click on create, and it is going to create a new virtual machine with these details. Now you can see the details of our machine. Click on settings, and then go to system. This is the base memory, which is our RAM. We can increase or decrease whenever we want. Processor as well. This is the processor cores. Now you also need to allocate how many processor cores. So I'm just going to give it 2 CPU cores since I can run 4. Now go to display, and then increase the video memory to 128 megabytes. Also enable 3D acceleration. Now go to storage. Now this is where we need Kali Linux ISO file. So first, let's head to our download folder. Make sure you have Kali Linux downloaded. Now let's open our download folder, and here we go. This is Kali Linux ISO, which we downloaded already. Now we are going to locate this file and add it to our VirtualBox. So let's click on the empty disk icon over here, and by the right, click on this disk icon again, and then click on choose a disk file. Now locate your download folder wherever you have Kali Linux ISO. Click on it, and then click on open, and then click on OK. Now we can go through our settings over here, make sure everything is the way it should be, and then we can click on start to start the installation of Kali Linux. Now we are going with graphical install, so we just hit enter. Now select a language and then continue. Now this entire installation process can actually be done offline. Now set a host name. We're just going to leave it as Kali. Domain name, we're leaving it empty. Full name for this user, I'm just gonna call it EverythingTech. Continue. Username for this account. Now take note of these details, because these are the details you're going to use to access this machine after creation. Set a password as well. Continue. Now set your desired time zone on area, and then continue. Now this is where it is going to detect our hard disk, and then we can select the hard disk. Now click on guided, use entire disk. So this is going to use the entire disk we allocated to Kali Linux earlier when we were creating the machine. So continue, and you can see the selected disk with 58.6 gigabytes of free storage. Continue. All files in one partition. Continue with that, and then finish partitioning and write changes to disk. Continue. Yes, write changes to disk. Continue. And this process should take a while to install the system and everything we need. So the entire process from here to the end should be about 30 minutes or less. It all depends on your PC hardware and how much resources you allocated to your Kali Linux machine. So if your Kali Linux machine isn't performing up to the task, you can always go back to your settings and then reduce or increase your RAM and processor as well. But remember not to give over 40% of your RAM to your virtual machine, and not to give over 50% of your processor to your virtual machine, else it will slow down your host computer. Now this is where we select the desktop environment we want. There are lots of desktop environments available for Kali Linux, and we can go with any of them. So we're just going to go with XFace, which is the default desktop environment. However, you can go with GNOME or KDE Plasma, but XFace is actually fine for me. So I'm going to continue, and it should complete the remaining installation. And we are done with the installation. Now select yes to install Grub bootloader. Continue, and then select the partition over here to install the bootloader. Continue. And we are done with the installation. Now click on continue to reboot. And we should be able to boot into Kali Linux. And here we go. We now have Kali Linux fully installed. The username is whatever username you used, and the password, and we are right in. So basically this is how to install Kali Linux on VirtualBox using your MacOS computer. If this video was helpful, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on your post notification. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.